One of the problems with recruiting for investment banking is not the knowledge or skills you acquire, but the access to talk with real investment bankers to put your best foot forward. Our sponsor, WSO Academy, can provide those connections with 60 head mentors who are finance professionals at top firms like Goldman, Centerview, and JP Morgan. Imagine being able to get on the phone within 24 hours with one of the Academy's 1,300 mentors right before a critical interview. Get on the waitlist for WSO Academy today by clicking the link in the show notes or by visiting wallstreetoasis.com/academy. All right. Welcome to Investment Banking Insights, the only podcast dedicated to helping you learn both the technical and non-technical aspects of investment banking. My name is Alex Mason and I am your host. And boy, I'm excited today. Why is that? Because we're talking about the final basic level mergers and acquisitions question today. We have gone through all of these M&A concepts, and boy, I am just so proud that we've done that. And yeah, we're just going to go through it. And this is a good one that relates to another question we've had in the past, but it applies specifically to mergers and acquisitions. So see if you can spot the similarities here. The question for today is this: what type of sensitivities would you look at in a merger model? What type of sensitivities would you look at in a merger model? We talked about this concept of the merger model. We know it is a financial model that essentially lays out the assumptions for if a merger took place between two companies, what would happen? Would you have accretion? Would you have dilution, and how much of it? Based on various assumptions on the financial profiles of the company, as well as the different aspects of the deal. And there are different assumptions that you can make in a merger model that would radically change the deal. And we can look at these things in terms of sensitivities, right? It's kind of like, think about like you're turning a knob on a machine. You know, you're just turning this dial up over here, this dial down over here, and that's going to give you a different output. So here's some examples of things that you can look at in terms of sensitivities. And we've talked about these before, but they bear repeating. You can look at the purchase price of the deal. How much money is being spent on this acquisition? Number one, purchase price. Number two, what is the composition of that purchase price? What currency is being used here? Is the company being paid for in stock or cash or debt? And what are the percentages relatively between those three types of currencies? So you could say, all right, this deal might make sense if you have 100% cash, but as soon as you do 50% stock, 50% cash, the deal's not accretive anymore. Well, why might that happen? Well, in this case, what if the acquiring company, the buyer stock, has a very low valuation? Well, it might not be worth that much relative to using cash. So that might be an example of how accretion and dilution might vary based on the stock cash debt percentage that's used in the deal. So think about these kinds of things. You could also look at variables such as your revenue synergies and also your cost synergies. You know, what are we assuming that the company is going to save? Are we going to assume a high run rate of savings annually or a lower run rate of savings annually? And how much does that affect accretion versus dilution? Think about those things as well. And then there are also some comparisons that you and I can make between two variables in order to see how they affect accretion and dilution. And essentially what we're doing here is we're comparing the purchase price to other variables. So for example, we could compare the purchase price versus your cost synergies, or purchase price versus your revenue synergies. We could also look at your purchase price versus a percentage of cash or a percentage of stock, for example. And so you can kind of map this out on a matrix or a table. If you can imagine this visually, you know, you have one axis of your table being various purchase prices of the deal, and another axis of your table being, for example, your cost synergies. And then where those two parts intersect would be a certain amount of accretion or dilution for the deal. And so you can kind of play with these sensitivities in order to get a sense of the ranges of accretion or dilution that might happen for this particular merger and acquisition. So those are the things that you can look at. Sensitivity analysis. Remember, we're just tweaking variables here. So that's the fundamental concept. Okay, that's what I got for you here today on Investment Banking Insights. And congratulations. Congratulations. You made it with me through mergers and acquisitions, all of the fundamental questions related to one company buying another. So hats off to you. Next on the podcast, what is coming up next? Well, I'm excited because we're going through the ultimate. I shouldn't say the ultimate, but I think for many people, it's kind of like, oh, we're talking about advanced stuff now. We're going to be talking about leveraged buyouts, my friends. And we're going to be looking through all the basics related to LBOs, as they're called. So join me next time where we talk about LBOs. Have a great day.